Men aren't lazy. We're done. More and more of us every day are realizing the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. There's no reward for working hard. So, what's the point? Why should a man work 50 hours a week doing something he hates with every fiber of his being? What, for an apartment he can barely even afford? For a dating market where women treat you like you're invisible? Is that supposed to be our incentive to work? I'm tired of it. And I know I'm not the only one. Men all over the place are saying, hell no, to this parasitic society. Especially the Gen Z men. Shout out to Gen Z. Y'all never even knew a world with a semblance of fairness. This society openly despises men, yet we're still expected to work and hustle and just be on that never-ending grind like frickin' Sisyphus pushing a boulder up an infinite slope, except our boulder is a resume that we're expected to upload over and over again 100 times a day, constantly fine-tuning all the details so it's just perfectly catered toward each individual job posting, making sure we got all the right keywords on there so the AI doesn't just delete it as soon as we click submit. And then they expect you to manually retype the entire resume anyways. And we're doing all that just so they can ghost us. No thanks. A man with self-respect can only stay on that treadmill for so long. If I'm not seeing any results, I'm getting off the damn treadmill. I'm not doing it. I came across this comment online that I think put it really well. It says, young people are supposed to make and support society, yet they gain less and less from it every generation. Kids, marriage, house, education, everything became a bigger and bigger financial burden to get, and people are tired of it. Buying your own house is almost impossible. Without it, you give like half your paycheck for rent, or if you manage it, you pay mortgage for the rest of your life. And then you still pay everything else while prices still grow and your pay is cemented. You can make yourself miserable, juggle multiple jobs, spend all your time making everyone else happy, satisfied, or wealthy, while numbing yourself with lies about how it'll all be better if you just try hard enough, while the prospective future looks darker and darker. Or you can check out and find other ways to be happy and satisfied, which don't include what others expect from you. I gotta say, I agree 100% with this commenter. I'm not against the concept of work in general. Even working long hours at a difficult job, I'm not against that. As long as working that job affords me the ability to live a good life, like how the older generations had it. Because that's another thing too. Gen Z and even lots of millennials, we can see just how good our parents and our grandparents had it. Raise your hand if you grew up in a household where only one parent worked and you still didn't have it that bad. I know that was the case for me growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. My mom was a stay-at-home mother and my dad worked a factory job. He was literally at the lowest level of employment at that job the entire time too. But that was enough. We had a decent house, 2 cars, we went on vacations. We weren't living lavishly by any means, but it really wasn't that bad. I would say I had a good life as far as what my parents were able to provide for me financially. But good luck trying to live that lifestyle these days. First of all, there just aren't as many manufacturing jobs to go around. Even the place my dad worked out, they moved all their production to Mexico back in like 2009, I think. So it's hard to even find a job like that anymore. But even if you do get hired, you'll only be getting paid like $20 an hour, maybe up to like $25 an hour at some places starting out. But that's really not a lot these days. My dad told me when he started his factory job in the early 90s, he started at $13 an hour. If you plug $13 in 1992 money into an inflation calculator, It says that's the equivalent of $30 an hour in 2026. I barely made that much when I was working as an engineer. And these inflation calculators don't even tell the full story. I'm not super knowledgeable on the topic, but I'm pretty sure inflation calculations don't fully reflect just how much the cost of living has risen. It doesn't consider everything about housing costs. It doesn't consider everything about automotive costs, especially talking about used cars, which, there's no such thing as an affordable used automobile these days. That's just an artifact of the past at this point. But yeah, then of course there's the insane cost of college tuition, which you pretty much are expected to have some kind of degree these days for most jobs. And you have to have a car unless you live in New York City or maybe Chicago, I guess. It's just really bad these days. Just how little we get compensated compared to how our parents had it when they were our age. And of course, as an average man, you're probably not going to be having much luck with the ladies if you can't even afford to pay rent, especially considering the fact most chicks don't want to give you the time of day if you make less than they do. Generally speaking, women look for guys that earn more than they do, even though nowadays young women on average earn more than young men. And they get way more college degrees at every level. But, that's just how it is. It's just another completely unfair obstacle that men are facing these days. So if busting your ass working 2 jobs, working like 60 hours a week on top of some kind of side hustle probably, apparently 57% of Gen Z have a side hustle. That comes from a recent poll. I don't know how accurate it is, but that sounds about right to me. It's bad out here when the majority of young people feel like they have to supplement their income just to get by. But yeah, you can't expect men to care about working when all their best efforts are just going to get them to the same exact place they'd be if they never tried in the first place. You work hard day in and day out, and what do you get? What do you have to show for it? It doesn't get you a girlfriend, or really any attention from women whatsoever. You can't afford to live on your own. So you might as well just drop out of the system and spend your time playing retro video games if that's what you enjoy doing. Because at least then you get to do something you enjoy. Yeah, you're probably going to be miserable overall just from being lonely and struggling financially. But working hard apparently isn't going to change that. So you might as well just spend your time gaming instead. Honestly, why not? Why not? Somebody explain to me why it is worth it for a young man to work a job these days other than just to not be homeless. If you have the option of neat maxing and living off your parents' dime, then, I don't know, kind of seems like that's the better option. By the way, when I was looking up that statistic on what percentage of Gen Z are working side hustles, one of the top results was this article from The Guardian that came out earlier this week. It featured a profile on this young woman. She's a software developer at Google, and I guess she does a podcast as a side hustle. Now, I just couldn't help myself, so I did some digging. Apparently, this chick had the same exact degree that I have from the same exact university. And not only that, but she graduated within 1 year from the time that I graduated. But she's obviously doing much better than I am. So I did a little more digging, and I found her portfolio of projects. There's some pretty solid personal projects there. I'm not trying to say she's not a good software she probably does fine at her job, but the thing about her portfolio, there's nothing there that's any more impressive than my own personal projects. So it makes me wonder, how is it that this young lady with very similar credentials to myself, how is she able to get a job at frickin' Google of all places, making $155,000 a year. Seriously, that's what she said she makes. So she gets that job. While I can't even get a call back from some no-name local companies in my area, much less from a tech giant like Google. Again, same degree, same school. Yet I am terminally unemployed while she has a high-paying job at Google and she's being featured in multiple high-profile publications, The Guardian and freaking Business Insider, apparently. She doesn't even have a large following on any social media. Her podcast hardly gets any views. Like, seriously, her YouTube channel has like 700 subscribers. And it doesn't even look like her podcast is active. It's been months since she released an episode. What the fuck is going on here? Seriously, she's being featured in an article about side hustles. What even is her side hustle? She doesn't even actually do the podcast anymore, and she doesn't post on any social media frequently. Is she a Google plant? Is Google arranging these high-profile articles for her? I really just don't understand this. I mean, let's be real. It's obvious why she was able to get a job at Google, and I'm not, even though we have nearly identical resumes. That part is obvious. I'm a man, she's a woman. Arguably, she is an attractive woman. Look, you can bury your head in the sand all you want. Fuck the topic of this video. By the way, we're past that now. The new topic is how unfair and fucking ridiculous this shit is. Okay? Please, seriously. Nobody harass this girl or anything. I'm intentionally not going to be showing her name. Okay? But she gets a job at Google, probably had offers from all sorts of places. Meanwhile, I'm over here, same degree, same school. Again, same fucking degree and school. Exact same. Similar resume. I've applied everywhere. I can't even get an interview. And no, there is not a spelling error on my resume or anything like that. I don't have any huge flaws with my resume. So what is the difference other than the fact that I'm a man and she's a woman? Is that the only thing? That's the only thing I see. I mean, we are also different ethnicities, I guess, so there's that too. But I'm a man, can't get a job to save my life, but this lovely young lady, she not only gets a job with the single most coveted employer in the whole field, she's also being featured in mainstream media news publications for some reason that I can't quite figure out. And look at this. This is a post from her Instagram. Okay, so just from the context of this, like, is this supposed to be a work-appropriate outfit? Is this what is considered professional attire for a woman these days? I mean, the post itself is about how to land a job, and this is what she chooses to wear. Excuse me, miss, are you aware that your midsection is uncovered right now? Imagine a man trying to wear something like this to work. And I'm sure she would argue it has nothing to do with sex appeal. Like, your damn belly button is showing. If that is not for the purpose of appealing to the male gaze, then I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that. Now, I did a little more digging. Okay, honestly, I was trying to see if there was any bikini pictures. There's not, by the way, okay, but I did a little more digging. And it didn't even take me very long to have my suspicions completely confirmed. In one of her Instagram reels, she talks about her journey to getting the job at Google, and she mentions that her first internship was through the Google STEP program. So I looked that up, and yep, you guessed it. It's an internship program that was designed specifically to recruit underrepresented minorities. Now, you might be looking at this girl and you're thinking, wait, isn't she Indian? Is Indian an underrepresented minority in the tech industry? Well, no, it's not, but female is an underrepresented minority, apparently. So to anyone that thought I was just on some bullshit, like I'm just making unfounded assumptions over here, no, I was right. I was 100% right. Google hired this chick in large part because she is a woman. And you can look it up. I guess they ended the STEP program last year, or maybe they're just changing the name of it. I don't know, but you can still find plenty of discussions online where people were talking about it. And it seems like everybody was in agreement that the program strongly favored female applicants. This shit pisses me off so much because they justify all this by saying, well, white males are still the majority in our workforce, so we need to recruit underrepresented people to be more fair. But most of those white male employees got in way back in the day before DEI got completely out of control. So really, it's just like, if you're a young man trying to get your foot in the door, then fuck you, I guess. They don't want you. They already got plenty of men. Sure, they're all 45, 50 years old, but I guess that's the same thing. I guarantee if they released detailed demographic data on their workforce, we'd all be able to see that Caucasian males under the age of 30 are probably the single most underrepresented group in the whole place. And males under 30 of any race are also severely underrepresented. And if you think about it, since there are just less women going for software jobs compared to men, even if there was like a 60-40 split in favor of men, if the applicant ratio is, say, 80-20, that would still be a sign of discriminatory hiring practices against men. It's just such bullshit being a man in this society. We get discriminated against flagrantly, and these companies are proud of it. And then on top of that, we're told that we're the ones that get favorable treatment. By who? Who is favoring men in hiring? Seriously, who? Especially in the younger generations for entry-level jobs. Who is favoring men? They say they have to have all this positive discrimination, this affirmative action in favor of women. They have to have that because of all the negative discrimination against women that I guess is happening in secret. Where is that discrimination happening? I'm just not seeing it. And where is the freaking data? Where? How do they justify this? The only evidence they ever give to justify this nonsense is just going off raw numbers of male workers versus female workers, regardless of the demographics of who actually applied or the demographics of who's actually qualified. I'm tired of the gaslighting. I am being discriminated against. I'm not blind. I'm not stupid. I'm not that stupid. I am being discriminated against. Men are being discriminated against massively on a large scale. And they brag about it to our face. And they call that progress. Then they call us chuds and they call us the I word when we try to speak truth to power. And they want to insult us and act like we're defective for choosing not to participate in this rat race any longer when all the female rats got go-karts with fucking nitrous installed and all the males get their legs broke at the starting line because apparently that's what's considered fair. And yes, it is worse for those of us with a more pale complexion. Let's not play pretend here. Okay, you can take your fingers out of your ears, take off the blindfold, and why don't you just join me over here in the real world? What is there to do but just give up at this point? I don't want to contribute to this society that openly discriminates against me. Nothing pisses me off more than men being told they're lazy for not trying hard enough to find employment when we're literally facing systematic discrimination. It's insane. How do you even respond to that? I don't care who you are. You could be the most self-motivated, driven person in the whole fucking world. If you continuously get discriminated against every time you try to do something, and then on top of that, it seems like everyone else around you is always telling you that actually you're the one receiving favorable treatment, then you're probably eventually gonna just give up. No one in their right mind would keep pushing the boulder up the hill, knowing it's always gonna roll back down again, especially if you have an army of women standing on top of the hill shouting down at you like, "You're just not trying hard enough. What's the problem?" Just standing there on top of the mountain wearing power armor from Fallout, shouting down at my frail, unequipped body, just like, "What's the problem, big man? We made it up here with all the cards stacked against us. You should be able to easily push that boulder up here with all your advantages." Like, we can all see who actually has the advantages. It's obviously not men, especially not young men. Like, how the hell does anybody think that Gen Z men have anything to do with the number of male executives and board members and all that? Those guys are like 60, 70, 80 years old. Maybe, maybe we shouldn't be implementing special initiative programs at the entry level based on the demographics at the top. Maybe that is just completely asinine. Did anybody ever consider that? And people seriously wonder why men are giving up? I mean, really, we're not. We're trying to make it, and then they're throwing our resume in the trash just because we're men and telling us we deserve to be treated like that. That's not giving up. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Men are not giving up. We're being excluded. We're being blocked from entering. I wish they did have special internships just for men. Wouldn't that be nice to just have your odds of getting hired quadrupled straight out the gate just because your genetic profile fits what the company's looking for? That would be just grand. Sign me up. But, oh well, I guess. I'm a man, so I'm on the other side of that equation. Now, if you're listening to this and you still have hope for yourself, say you're still on the grind, you're hustling, trying your best to make it, then good. I'm not telling you to give up. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky few that actually makes it. And I am being genuine right now, seriously. I really don't want to discourage anyone. Statistically speaking, as a man in this society right now, there is a more than likely chance that things are not going to work out in your favor. But if you're going to go for it anyways, then, hey, just go for it. I'm not trying to stop you. I'm just speaking my mind on the matter, and I think what I'm saying resonates with a whole lot of other men too. So that's why I make these videos. It's 50% just a way for me to vent, and the other half is me doing what I can to advocate for all the other excess males just like me that are really just struggling to fit in this broken society. So yeah, if you still got hope, then that is probably a good thing. Hopefully it all works out for you. But if you feel like I do, and you feel like the juice just ain't worth the squeeze no more, I'm going to keep making these videos, so at least you know you're not alone. And I'm not the only one doing this. There's some other channels similar to mine that I like to listen to. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video or you found anything I said thought-provoking, please check out some of my other videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.